Well, howdy, nearly senior citizen here. Greetings, boys, girls, and all of our non-binary friends, and welcome to this brand new day. It is raining outside again, and birds are singing, and it's been warm enough that, again, I have my window wide open, fan blowing air from outside into my bedroom as I sleep. It's basically spring in mid-January. Thumbs up for that. Still though, I did manage to actually sleep until pain woke me up. This morning it was gut pain. Yay! So I've been up since 5:30, but until then I did actually manage to sleep. Did not take Benadryl this time. I learned in the past that if you take Benadryl too much, you get a rebound effect and it keeps you awake. So I have to be very careful with the Benadryl use. Yay! And of course, front-loading videos that could toss me a like. They're very awesome. If you could subscribe to the channel, I can speak English, I promise. That would be awesome. If you could leave me a comment, that would be double plus good. And I would like to thank each and every one of my Patreon patrons. And these are literally beautiful and literally awesome people who are, in fact, literally beautiful and literally awesome, helping to keep me and my aging pet metabolizing. I appreciate that, and if my aging pet could speak, they would appreciate that verbally for you as well. If you'd like to help keep me and my aging pet metabolizing, I have links to my Patreon in the video description, as well as a PayPal for any possible donations, an Amazon wish list link with things like pet food on it, and I can speak English, I promise, a post office box with where you can send anything at all. I only ask for postcards, keychains, and I'll open them up on camera, and yay, it'll be cool. So front-loading the video is over. Oh boy, that took longer than I meant to because I can't speak English today. Yeah, I'm still super duper tired. I have a sleep deficit that is huge. And the thing about sleep deficits is it never goes away until you make it up. And I spent years getting like 1 hour of sleep a night while my wife was in her end stage of life. Thumbs up for that. Still though, life is life. And I did what I could yesterday. I did have some small falling asleep issues during the middle part of the day, but joy, I still managed to do next to nothing. I did play some video games. One thing I've been playing again is the game Nightmare Reaper, which is a huge game. It is all procedurally generated levels, but it has 1,000,000 levels. Each level that you go through is broken up into 3 different map sections and then a possible boss battle. And then I've just been going and going and going, and it's just lasting. This game is huge while it's a simple first-person shooter. But it's more than just a simple first-person shooter. When I was playing at the beginning, one of the weapons, the idea behind the game is you're actually a patient in a mental asylum. And when you go to sleep, you go into these nightmare realms where you are the Nightmare Reaper, destroying all of these things in your head, hopefully trying to get to eventual sanity. And that's what's happening in the game. So when you get weapons in your head, when you eventually finish the level or die, all that stuff is gone. Because it happened while you were dreaming. But you get to keep a weapon. In the beginning, the weapon that I kept was the Molotov. Just tossing Molotovs and flames at everything was, in the beginning, way too OP. And I kept that forever. You can power up your character with skill levels. So I've got my character so she can kick faster, she can kick harder, and she can just, her range is wider. I also have power boots. And these power boots power up your kick. I am, when I've got it going well, damn near invincible with these things on. I have dashed into huge arenas where there have been monsters that can take you out. And I'm just spamming the kick key as I run through them, just running face first into the bad guys, spamming the kick key. And after the explosions are all done, everything is dead and I have full strength. It especially becomes just an absolute massacre when I've got a weapon that, like a melee weapon, you have swords, or you have distance weapons, like some sort of harpoon gun, or what are they, rocket launchers. You get like the sword, so you're spamming kick while you're spamming the swing that weapon button. They come apart in glorious fashion. I even had a talk with the developer on Steam for a short time, though. I was trying to get through this one set of levels, and I was getting super frustrated because I kept getting put into situations where there was no way to continue. There were no doors, there were no secrets, there was nothing. I would have sometimes get into a room where I couldn't even leave the exit. There was just no door to leave the entrance. So I left comments about that. His basic comment was, well, you got to look around and make sure to go up. I'd already been taking advantage of the verticality and doing as best I could. Being procedurally generated, though, sometimes you're going to find some really frustrating levels. Like there was one level that you had to jump down into a huge pit because there was a key that you needed down there to make it through the rest of the level. There was no way to jump out of the pit. You had to quit the level because you got the key. Game over. So it's filled with stuff like that as well. Now there are other things I want to talk about. WOTC and AD&D and more leaks, because a lot of the people that work for Wizards of the Coast and Hasbro don't like what Hasbro is making them do, and so they have leaked details of the plans for Dungeons and Dragons, which is they are going full virtual tabletop and virtual. There are going to be basically no more physical things made for it because they want you to subscribe so you can play. They are going to have different tiers of subscription if you want to play Dungeons and Dragons. And the free one is very, very basic. You can't have anything but official rules. No homebrews are allowed on free tiers. You have to be paid to play if you want to do anything but the official rules. Now already, if you're a game master, you're paying every single month to Wizards of the Coast to get access to their virtual stuff. Their plan is every single person who plays is going to pay $30 a month, almost $500 per year. They're going to have microtransactions and content drops for the people who pay, but of course you don't get content if you otherwise. Which makes sense, physical books, but when they don't make anything but that, and there's no place to get this stuff but them, well. Yeah, so it's hideous, and the further plan, of course, is to just deauthorize every single game license that they've ever had. And keep in the language that they can change it with a 30 days notice. It's horrible, which of course is turning out to just be a godsend for all of the third-party publishers. Thumbs up for that. So what else do we have? Oh yes, more game stuff. One of them is a weird thing. There's a game producer, Sandy Peterson. He's a little bit older than I am, but he is a game maker. He makes actual board games and role-playing games, and right now he sells them on, his shop, and he owns the company Chaosium. He's also a guy that spent a long time as a software engineer, designer, and developer. And he made up a lot of the good levels for the original Doom. He was a developer and designer, moved on to the level developing, and then moved back out and continued working with just the board gaming stuff because he'd kept doing that. So he had originally... I'm leading up to this because there are other role-playing games out there. I've mentioned that in 1982 I had already stopped playing Dungeons and Dragons. One of them was RuneQuest. RuneQuest was put out by the company Chaosium. The company Chaosium was started by the guy Greg Stafford because he had been working on a setting since the early 1960s. And he wanted a publishing company so he could publish his ideas. And his idea was Glorantha, a world called Glorantha. And he invented Chaosium, and then Sandy Peterson got involved, and then they sold most of the stuff away, and they didn't like how it was going, and then they eventually bought it back. And then Greg Stafford died some time ago. He was my parents' generation. But yeah, this was a company that has never made a ton of money, that has always just been, it's been sold a couple times, and it's basically a small little place. They've done big things. If you've ever heard of the game Call of Cthulhu, that's them. And RuneQuest has gone through a million different types of publishers. They do some, the other companies do others. It's kind of a mess that way, but they still do Glorantha stuff out there. And that's good too. But the main reason I'm bringing that one up is, I've talked before, you don't have to monetize your passions, but if you wish to, nothing wrong with that, of course. I mean, Greg Stafford, yes, he never became mega famous, but he did what he wanted to do, which was to publish stuff about his game world. He never got the fame and fortune that he probably should have gotten. He was effectively just a guy who also did publishing stuff and made enough money to live and to relax, but was never rich. So yeah, you don't have to monetize your passions, but do things with them. And when I say do things with them, that just means keep doing them. You don't have to sell stuff. If you like making settings, make settings. If you like making characters, make characters. If you like making adventures type stuff in your head, do that. If you just like making settings, like I've been doing in the hopes of writing a 2-book set here, but if you just like making settings like I've been doing over the past several years with my Razor's Edge inside, outside, and the Cryptid stuff, do it. It's good. Our brains we love to create. We are natural storytellers. That has been baked into our DNA since forever. Create. Do it. But remember, of course, monetizing your passions and your pleasures, there are those that say, if you monetize the thing that you love, you'll never work a day in your life. No, that just turns your entire life into work. If you monetize your passions and your pleasures, they aren't passions and pleasures anymore. They're work. So you don't have to monetize these things. Just creating is good enough. Do it. Thumbs up for that. What else do I have on my list here? Kind of so far. I can't remember. I think it was Jesse Koskinen asked which of my RPGs I've played the most of so far. The ones that I've played the most of so far have been No Quest and For Against Darkness, because they are quick. I mean, they're fast. You can make up a character just bang, bang, like that on No Quest, a couple rolls, and you're done. With For Against Darkness, you make your characters just by copying them straight out of the book to start with. I mean, they're fast. With D100 Dungeon, my apologies, my brain failed entirely there. With D100 Dungeon, you got to put work into it, so it takes time. It might take you 15-20 minutes to get your character all rolled up and written down. And then the adventures, while they go quicker, the more experience you have, you're still having to flip through pages and then do a lot of rolls. So that takes time. And though I like it, if I don't have a lot of time or I have a lot of executive dysfunction, that is a huge boulder to push out of the way. Whereas For Against Darkness or No Quest is just grab the book, it's ready to go. Now there are other games that I am still going to be playing for the channel. I'm going to be doing Drifter. I've got that all printed out. I've got the maps. I'm trying to figure out some small things like how to show the huge map on my tiny table with the small little view that it has. But I'm going to be playing the Drifter next. High Plains Drifter there. And then there's other games that I still want to do. There's the Micro Chatbook series, because I have the basic Micro Chatbook fantasy, but they also have horror, and then there's a science fiction setting. I want to do all three of those. for the channel. There's the Ancient Odysseys, Treasure Awaits. It's like a 10-year-old 10-year-old game that really deserves more love. It's very, very good. And they still sell it, of course, but I want to show that off because it's good. I want to do the homebrew kind of thing that I'm working out in my head with Scarlet Heroes and White Box, adding in the overland generation from other things, and then dungeon generation from another game using oracles, and then just show that. So there's a lot of stuff that's coming up, and I still have the third one in the Dungeon Blitz series. There's the Dungeon Hero mini type game series, Rusty Dagger, another mini type game series. There's a lot of things that I still want to do. I have barely touched the things that I have. I want to show Maze Rats and Knave and Cairn. So thumbs up for that. What else do I have here? Oh yes, this is just a minor thing because yesterday I had mentioned, I noticed in editing, I had started off with talking about love language and then immediately leaped onto another subject. The reason I had brought that up, and I'm going to quickly whip into another subject as well, sort of, is as extinctive as cryptids are, even the more human ones, and it's not their fault that they are this way, but they are much more instinctive. If you have a cryptid human couple, and there are a lot of them, sometimes it's cryptids and normal humans with their third eye firmly shut. Sometimes it's cryptids and those humans with their third eyes open. But it happens. But one of the things is, it's if you are the human being and you're the little spoon, your cryptid companion would give you a lick on the neck with good morning, delicious. And they mean that. Delicious, because of course they do wish to devour you bodily and entirely, but their desire to consume you is far, far less than their need to protect you. But instinctive as they are, again, a lot of how the cryptids talk is very blunt. So they're going to tell you, God, when they say you smell good enough to eat, they mean it. Their bellies will rumble. They're getting geared up to eat. So yeah, but that's not a bad thing, because remember, mind is a function of brain. In our real world, if you damage the brain, you damage the mind. Take a look at anybody who's had a stroke. Personality changes. Unfortunately, mind is a function of brain. If you change your brain, you change your mind. And when your third eye opens, all of your extra-universal sensory organs, brain structures, and more start to power on and grow and become a thing. Your brain changes. Your body changes. Just that nothing we can see on this level of where we are, but it's still happening. And it is a change that happens fairly quickly. In your first week of having your third eye open, if it's wide enough that you can't ignore it, like if you're 60 and above with your cryptid presence, to put it in numerical game terms, you are able to ignore these things below that but. Oh man, I hate ADHD. But the first week you will see things that will freak you out. Like you will really notice that that there's a lot of people walking around with no clothing on, because cryptids don't wear clothes 98% of the time. And when they do, it's just because they like the pattern or the colors or a combination of both. But they don't. Cryptids, with the way they are, they have no need to wear clothing. The weather is no danger. They can actually be comfortable down to like minus 40 and up to 115, and they're fine. They won't even notice it. And nothing's going to be able to hurt them, because 98% of the things that are on this world can't even perceive or interact with cryptids. They don't need protection from the environment or the animals or anything else. And with the way that their development is stunted, with all of their potential being pushed back into their faces like a strong wind, keeping them from going forward, they live like animals and have for hundreds of thousands of years. So they largely just don't wear anything at all. And so you're going to be noticing that there's a lot of people wearing nothing. And then there's, of course, the acts of incredible violence, because it's going to be a shocker the very first time you see a cryptid dismantle and devour and bodily and entirely another human being. That's going to be quite a shocker. But at the end of that first month, when you're talking to another cryptid, somebody who's a new person would say, that person wasn't wearing anything. And you're just, I didn't even notice. Because you wouldn't. They're not going to show up on your radar for anything other than contextually talking to them in a public forum about something. Any other things are shut down entirely because their extra universal organs are not showing them as being frisky. Your extra universal organs are not picking up any signals that they wish to be frisky. Therefore, you don't even see it. Boy, there's a lot more I want to talk about, because now it's 21 minutes in. I've opened up 24 hours with the comments on my community tab. I'm going to go thank how many people have left me comments in the past 24 hours. Holy smokes, I didn't mean to talk this long. I am out of control of my ADHD. If I've mispronounced the username, no disrespect is intended, and even though I count American Sign Language, I didn't even get a chance to do anything like show you all these little wood piece things. So, I love ADHD. We have Jesse Koskinen, thumbs up and thank you. There is Simon Hughes, greatly appreciated. Flora Mew, thumbs up and thank you. It's good to see you. Chris, thumbs up and thank you as well. There's Sebastian Ferris, howdy, howdy, howdy. Crystal Lizette, yeah, I didn't really know that solo RPGs were a thing until I randomly discovered D100 Dungeon a couple months back. And whoa, it's a whole new world. There is Stephen Blanchard. I don't know if I'm counting correctly, so we'll just go Stephen Blanchard, thumbs up and thank you. It's good to see you in the comments. There is Carl, greatly appreciated. And we have RJ Mitchell, thumbs up, thank you for being in the comments and watching and enjoying. It is a good thing. That is however many people who left me comments in the past 24 hours. Not a lot, but you know what? Anything more than 0 is awesome. I don't know what I'm going to do today. I got to fight through my executive dysfunction, and I am just feeling so exhausted. I got a lot to talk about with my therapist come tomorrow, yay. So hopefully you can get done what you want to get done, and if you can't, don't beat yourself up. It's not going to help. And of course, with everyone getting sick, please just take appropriate precautions if people are getting sick where you are. If people are getting hurt where you are, don't go into that area unless you're already there, in which case, try to leave. And of course, if you are out walking and you hear the mournful howl of the bus horn, the bus with your name on it, yeah, your time as a living human being is going to be over, and your time as a rather disgustingly broken down corpse smeared against the landscape is just starting. So get ready. And until we meet again, you take care. Have a great day today. I will see you on the flip side, and that is indeed a very good thing.